It's one of those rare days when even the ducks have abandoned hope of keeping dry.
No, it's absolutely wild out there. Windy, raining, typical Yorkshire weather, isn't it?
But the cars keep on arriving, with haulier Dan Mennels dropping off a vehicle that's been used to much sunnier climes.
I don't even know what it is. What is it? Hold on, we'll get details up. Austin Metropolitan. I've never ever seen one. Never heard of one, never seen one. It's coming from US, it's left-hand drive.
Is it a runner?
It could be, I think, but I haven't really tried and there's no brakes, so we'll see what it brings, won't we?
Once it's dried off, the distinctiveness of this 1955 Nash Metropolitan can be appreciated. And Derek has a confession.
I love them. I absolutely love them. I'm ashamed to say I've never had one. I've never had the opportunity to buy one. They're rusty things. They rust, a whole floor pan rusts underneath. They're rotten as a pair mostly. Hard to believe when a lot of them would have been over there in probably dry states, but they still seem to come back rotten. And I've never been able to find a nice enough one to want to do anything with it.
The Nash Metropolitan looked like it was made in Birmingham, Alabama, but it actually rolled off the Austin production line in the original Birmingham, in the West Midlands. It was aimed squarely at the female market in the States and the rise of the two-car household. The original design came from an American company that made cars and fridges. Buyers could choose between hardtop and convertible models, but in the land of the free, size was everything. And despite the success of many other small British-made cars, the Metropolitan was dumped due to a lack of sales.
What always amazed me is that they overhang, don't they? Look at that, the wheels are set in. And the body's like big bulbous set outside. It's weird, isn't it?
200mm spaces on there.
Yeah, they got a massive great overhang, back and front. So they strange things.
With auction prices starting at around £4,000, a Nash is an affordable way into the American car market.
With people that import cars from the States or South Africa or anywhere, they import them on a price and they forget about the quality. The Yanks will keep the better ones over there. They'll let poor ones go, and that's exactly what happens. So we get the thin end of the wedge all the time over here. I bet if I went over there and I'd hunt around, I bet I'd come back with a couple of minters.
There's always a steady queue of folk wanting to get their mitts on a British 80s or 90s classic.
It's not for sale though, is it?
Some other motors are more of an acquired taste.
Lot number 132 is the Metropolitan. Lovely little project there for someone. What a lovely, pretty little car. One of my father's favourites. Asking 4,000 will, I see. No point in starting much lower. Anyone want to jump in and make a start for us at £4,000 provisional? At £4,000. If we can't jump in at 4,000, guys, you'll have to speak to the office a bit later on. It's worth more than that.
It looks as if no one wants to splash their cash on the Nash.
The more weird and wonderful, the more difficult it is. In that case, with this little car, they're quirky, they're different, they're left-hand drive, they're American-looking. Each time, your customer base is shrinking. We find homes for just about everything, don't we? If it's about right, if it's priced right, we can find a home for it.
True to form, in the days after the auction, an enthusiast from the Midlands steps forward to buy the Metropolitan for £4,500.
The thing about the Metropolitan that grabs me is that it's so distinctive, so different from even cars of that era. I like the American styling, I like the garish colours, and I like the fact that you just don't see them over here, and especially early ones like this.
Paul Miller is feeling rather chuffed with his latest purchase, a 1954 Nash Metropolitan in Berkshire Green. Or turquoise to you and me.
I've always been a sucker for an underdog. This certainly fits that bill.
Paul's no stranger to this quirky brand. He's already got a Metropolitan coupe in his collection and is a card-carrying member of the Metropolitan Owners Club. This yellow one belongs to his mate and fellow enthusiast, Dave Walton.
I like the Marmite badge that goes with it. You either love it or you hate it. It gets people talking about it. It's a happy car to drive, it really is. The cars of the 50s had very elegant flowing lines, and the Metropolitan's no exception in that regard. It's got what I would call a boat tail rear, which does make people ask, does it go in water? Even though it bears no resemblance to the amphicar of that period. And the answer is, of course, no, it doesn't. Or rather, yes, it does, but not for very long. I haven't even known members put propellers in their exhaust to encourage people to ask that question. The only problem I could find in terms of corrosion was in the driver's footwell, where if I put the carpet back, you can see there's a rather large hole. It's come from a dry state in California. I don't know how water has corroded it to that point. It's almost as if someone's cut it away to gain access. The best way of describing the driving experience of a Metropolitan is it's all rock and roll. I don't mean in a trendy way, but in the sense that it was built for the American highways, so it doesn't like bends or corners, and has a lot of body roll when you negotiate a corner and roundabouts. It certainly keeps you on your toes. But no, once you get used to 3 on the tree rather than 4 on the floor, it's all right, actually. That's my wingman, Dave. He's a good man in a crisis. It's always good to have a support vehicle when you're going out in a classic car. What's happened there? It's got stuck in gear. So the gear selector got stuck in second gear. It's like having a fight with a Dalek. That's how I would...
You're out.
Oh, might help if I switched it on.
Well, if you're going to challenge me by not switching it on...
I did that just for the camera. I did that just for the camera.
Well, that's life.
There we are. Not a problem. All sorted. It does turn heads. Usually people have a smile on their face. I don't know if it's the bright colours, I don't know if it's the bizarre styling, but it certainly gets you noticed. So if you want to get ahead, my advice is get a Metropolitan.